Have you ever felt like God had a great calling over your life, but based on what he was asking you to do, it seemed like it was way bigger than you?
Usichoke kungoja, ipo siku yaja, utatabasamu futa machozi. Usichoke kungoja, ipo siku yaja.
Praise be to God. This is Ruth Shiru, and thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to share with you something I've been meditating on, which I believe it's going to be a blessing. I'm going to title this message, The Power of Showing Up. The Power of Showing Up. Have you ever felt like God had a great calling over your life, but based on what he was asking you to do, it seemed like it was way bigger than you? For some, he wanted you to change your career or start a great business. And for others, he asked you to move to a different state or a different country. And then there's some who God called you to be a preacher or an evangelist to the lost souls. I don't know about you, but anytime God gives me ideas, actually big ideas, I just feel like saying, no, just send someone else to do it. Is it just me? His request, I can only describe it as thunder. It's scary, it's grand, it's loud, and his voice wakes us up in the middle of the night, reminding us of the calling of God. You see, the Lord speaks to us in various ways, and he tends to command us to do the unimaginable without much details on how we're going to accomplish it. All he tells us to do is to trust and to show up. And if you're like me, I'm a planner. And usually I'm hesitant to say yes whenever God doesn't give me the entire plan. However, God doesn't work like that most of the times. When he gives you a promise or tells you to do something, he doesn't usually disclose all the details of how you will attain it. All he does is he asks you to trust the process and to show up. And when you get to the place where he has commanded you to be, that's when he gives you the next steps of what to do, so that we may depend on him every single moment. You see, God has promised us Christians great plans, and his purpose is for us to give him all the glory and add more lost souls to the body of Christ through our testimonies. Whether you do this in the marketplace, at church, or even in social media. Let me give you an example. The Lord told Abraham in the book of Genesis, leave your country, your people, and your father's household and go to the land where I will show you. And when I read this, I thought to myself, like, seriously, God, you want him to leave behind what he loves the most, his comfort zone, and go to a place you haven't even shown him yet? Yup, that's exactly right. That's what he is asking us to do. He wants us to show up, and he will surprise you with great things. Like Moses, God appeared to him through a burning bush, and he told him to show up in Egypt. The Lord laid out the things he was going to do through Moses in order to free his people. But he did not give Moses all the details of some of the roadblocks he will face. Of course, Moses got nervous and anxious, and he told God he was not capable of fulfilling this great calling. He asked him to choose someone else to do it. At the time, Moses had a really low self-esteem. He was emotionally damaged and unable to speak well. The man went through a lot in his past, and he did not want to add more on his plate. He gave God all the excuses in the world, but God had already made up his mind. It was Moses he wanted to use to deliver his people. And so therefore, it is you he wants to use. After a lot of convincing, Moses finally agreed to go before Pharaoh, and he told him to let go of God's people. It was through Moses God fulfilled all he had said he will do, and he kept his promise. He freed the children of Israel. Look, God is not asking much from you. All he wants you to do is to show up, trust and to obey, and everything else is taken care of. I'm so excited to see what God has in store for you. You have a great future. Therefore, don't be afraid to show up. As always, thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to share this message with your friends and with your loved ones. See you next time, and God bless.
Hakuna mipango